Yeah, so while we're waiting for our moderator, who's actually one of the smartest people in regulation that I've ever met, who I'm actually tapping in to help us with our regulation and compliance. I thought I'd jump in and maybe go a little bit early, buy some time, kind of like I did earlier, but this time a bit more serious. None of that silly accent talk. So in addition to running an events business, I have been kicking this idea along for several years now, and it's finally coming to fruition. We probably should have done it in June of last year and raised while it was still the Wild West, but because things have moved on, we've been having to be more grown up, and more grown up as the regulation and legislation has changed. So that the way that this company has evolved, started off as an idea, and then we ended up setting up the entity in British Virgin Islands, and then we set up, well, we're still in the process of setting up the bank account in Mauritius, and then an operating entity in London. So it's gotten very convoluted because of the regulation and how you can set up companies and open bank accounts. But it has something that we've been kicking along. So the company is called Census, and I thank every one of you for helping promote it because the logo is on all of your badges along with the website. So thank you for helping us go viral. So it's an app. You can download it now. You can do some basic things on it. But long story short, what we want to do with Census is make data behave more like a currency. So let's do a show of hands. How many of you are getting paid or earning some sort of value for your data? We have 5 people lying to us today. Very good. Usually we have less. No, but some of you can make money with your data, but for the most part, nobody except for the front row guys are generating money from their data, or value, let's say, because we're not talking about money. I think I saw a stat. I think Google, Facebook, all the companies that use your data probably together make somewhere between $500 and $700 a year off of you for your data, for selling your data onto marketers. So it's not too bad. I mean, what could you do with that much money? Maybe buy 1 Ethereum? I don't know. Maybe half an Ethereum at last year's rates. But point in case, most people aren't making money off of their data. We'd like to change that, and we'd also like to make it so that you can earn for your data, but also actually spend it a little bit quicker. So it all starts with a basic principle. You are the user. You're being used, though. And then you have there's the information that you generate, followed by the actions that you do, followed by the services that you use, and then the devices. So technically, you're already creating volumes of data from everything you do. You have a little accelerometer that knows how fast you were walking, whether you're in a car or a bicycle based on the speed mapped along GPS. You're already generating all of this. Some of you use Fitbits or other sort of data trackers for fitness. So you're already doing this. The only thing that we're trying to do differently is be a central point. So one account so where you can start collecting and getting rewarded for your data. Pretty simple concept, which is why it's difficult to actually do, because it's so simple that we're not the only ones doing it, but we're trying to figure out how to make this happen. So the way that we've done it is we've built an app. You can download already on iOS and Android, and you can do a survey and fill in your demographic profile, your name, age, how much you earn, all that sort of stuff, and you'll earn 500 right now points, because none of what we're doing is tokens. It's all based on points. It's an alpha project, so you'll earn 500 points, and with those points, we'll have your demographic data, and then if somebody else wants to run a survey, you can earn more points. So right now, you can already start earning points by providing your data. So the basic functioning app is take surveys. We also have some of our tech guys working on a car driving telematics data add-on. So what you'll be able to do once that's there, we're going to do a pilot of it first, obviously, is you'll be able to share your driving data and get paid for that. So the way it works is, I'll explain it in a second. And then after that, we'll be looking at the tech guys are also working on a way to share your TV viewing, because you're already watching television, whether it's on a laptop machine. So we're looking at a way to monetize your data. So again, this whole one account to get your data starts with the Census app, and then different modules that help you earn in different ways. Browser plugin, all of this is opt-in. We don't ever want your data without your consent, and we don't want your personal details, because that's not where the value is. Unless you do want to sell that, but I would imagine you'd want a bit more money for that. So we're looking at telematics, health and fitness, smart TVs, social check-ins. So you can actually, if you're doing a check-in at Starbucks, you can actually get something for it. Watch videos. So all of these are simple tasks that you can do and share the data and earn tokens. Read white papers, for example. So we're trying to isolate a few high-value groups, like crypto investors, people that drive professionally to get that data tested, high net worth individuals, but also people with, who are already tracking fitness. The way it works is we have users who want to earn, and we connect them with buyers who want valuable data. Sorry, that's turned a little bit funny, but that's it. So for the surveys, we're working with market research companies. For televisions, we're working with advertisers. For check-ins, local merchants. For insurance companies, for telematics, insurance companies. And the way that would work is I'll explain it in a second. For fitness, we're working with insurance companies or governments in order to get more activity. If there's a campaign going to get people moving, you can actually start with a baseline, how much you move, and reward people for doing 10% more. Education, you can also do education modules in developing world. So if you want to teach people about clean water, malaria, that sort of thing, you could actually run a module where people learn, and then they can take a test to show that they've learned, and then you can actually monitor if rates of the thing that you're trying to teach works. So this concept of census actually works in the developing world. We can try it anywhere. In May, we were in Nigeria working with a couple companies there, and one of the things that we're exploring there is partnerships with local telecoms, because as you earn points or tokens, you can, in the future, we'd like them to be cryptocurrency, but if you want to cash them out to be vouchers or mobile top-ups, you could never pay for your phone again just by sharing your data. In the future, we envision something like a Google or a Samsung flavored Android that's actually census branded and built into the phone, so we can get into the firmware and actually track data at the firmware. So if you can imagine subsidized phones that track lots of detail, as long as you give us 3 to 4 months worth of data, you get a free phone, and for the rest of the year, you're actually being rewarded for it. This happened in the early 90s. I don't know if any of you ever got one of those like My Free PC deals back when they were doing that with internet. So that's a similar model that we're looking to do to subsidize phones, but also even televisions in the future. Everything we're doing is software based now, but we believe that there's a real market for baking the product into the hardware. So let's go over just one example. So let's look at the insurance telematics. So how many of you here drive? Good. So you know the way it works. You drive. There's this whole new thing with black boxes that you can put in your car, and you can track how much you drive. If you show an insurance company 100 miles worth of data, they can get a rough idea of how good of a driver you are, because they can map your speed against the GPS location that you're going with the actual legal speed that's there, how hard you accelerate, decelerate, how often you drive, where you drive, to actually get a proper risk assessment for you. So this data is already there, you can already buy it, but what we're trying to do is make it so that the person driving shares their data on the census platform, and then 3 different insurers can pay to view that data, so you actually get paid when the insurers view it. They don't get your personal data, they get your driving profile. So if you're a good driver, companies compete, they'll give you the lowest rates. And if you're a, for lack of a better term, shit driver, then companies can compete to give you the only offer that you will ever get, because nobody else will insure you. So you can actually compete for bad and worse drivers, and there's different sort of use cases that can be made on that. So they first pay to view the data in order to isolate drivers that they want to look at, and then they pay again to make an offer. So if you're a good driver, $600 a year insurance. I don't know if that's good anymore. I haven't lived here for 10 years, so is $600 a year good insurance? I don't know. Good. A month? A month is bad. Okay, no. Okay. So you'll get a good rate is what I'm trying to say. And if you're a bad driver or a young driver that's hard to insure, you could also get an offer there that might be difficult to refuse because it's an actual offer based on how you drive. And that's a lot more valuable than filling out a survey and finding out the hard way that you're a bad driver. So that's how it would work. And then you choose the company to go for. But in all these instances, you haven't shared your personal data. You've just provided a data profile that somebody else was interested in. So everything that we do starts with the buyer. So we can't do the insurance pilot without insurance companies, because we need all the parameters for several insurance companies so that we're doing apples to apples across the board so that you can actually provide a competitive rate. So this is one market that's pretty easy. The TV and the market research side is also fairly easy. So we're going for the low-hanging fruits of the data marketplace. In the future, you can sell other types of data, but for now, we're building gradually. But we're starting with the product and focusing on users, which is why we invite you to download the app and be part of our demographic trial. By no means is it cryptocurrency, because we're not going to be issuing cryptocurrency until the future. This is the alpha product where you get points, and we may, in jurisdictions where we're allowed to, allow you to take those points and buy the cryptocurrency version of the token. In places where that's not possible because of securities laws, we won't. But we'll still allow them to be converted into vouchers or other things that are of value so that you can take your data that you're already generating it and convert it into real-time value. So when we start reaching out to college campuses, the marketing will probably look like, earn a pair of shoes for 2 weeks of data. So we want to make sure that there's a tangible exit. And some of you that have people that are new in crypto in your life, like your grandmother or your uncle that's not really good with tech, we don't want to make this based on crypto. We want to make it so that you hit a few buttons, and at the end you can get a voucher for Giant, if that's what you want, or an Amazon voucher, because we want to make it so that you can not think about crypto ever unless you want to actually take those tokens and hold them or convert them to Ethereum or cash out or do something like that. But we want to make it so that it's all about sharing your data, clicking a few buttons, always opt in, and always have a way to exit that's non-crypto so that you can bypass the entire nuances of the technology. Because anytime you talk to somebody about crypto, they'll start telling you a story about Bitcoin that they saw in the news. I'm sure that happens all the time. And then you have to get into about a 20-minute conversation about actually the underlying principles of blockchain can be used for all sorts of things. And you can avoid that conversation by just allowing people to buy trainers or Nikes or something that they actually need and bypass that. So we want to lower the barrier to entry so that more people can get involved and that anybody with data can earn money. This is actually a big deal in places, in developing countries where there aren't jobs. It's the gig economy for anybody with phones, with smartphones, and now almost everybody has a smartphone, or 2 or 3 or 4. So that's it. So we're focusing on getting we got the app live. We got probably close to 200 users now. We just actually got it live about 12 days ago. We're working with market research firms to get the data points for the market research, and we're working with insurance companies to try to get the pilot going for this. We're in the early stages of getting some funding. We've been funding it ourselves, but we're actively looking for equity side investors because we're not doing the token side yet. All that is happening privately. And then the other thing is that we are looking at exploring the EOS platform. We know those guys well. They were with us last year in the summer in London, DC, Silicon Valley, so we knew them from day one. And we're looking at ways to use the EOS platform because for those of you that aren't aware, EOS has a couple £100 million fund for apps that develop dApps on their platform, decentralized apps on their platform. So we're looking to take advantage of that relationship, but also you explore ways of using EOS as part of the stack to help launch Census. We have some really, we got some nice people on the agenda, on the sort of team I won't go read all the names, but J.R. Willett, who's come on as an advisor, he doesn't usually advise companies, but he was nice enough to help with ours. He's the guy who probably did the first ICO before they were called that, Mastercoin, Omnicoin. Some of you guys may be familiar. We have Yanis Korfoglu. I don't like saying his last name because I always butcher it. Where's Yanis? Yanis? He's probably in the other room. But he was in one of the earlier panels. So we have some really solid guys. He's an AI advisor and really knows his shit when it comes to AI. And then Julian Bouteloup is a mad scientist guy. He's working on this flying carpet project that's like a protocol for allowing drones to refuel on rooftops. So the world isn't quite ready for that yet, but it's actually coming. You can earn money by having drone charging points on your rooftops with this flying carpet protocol. Pretty cool stuff. So, and Adi Ben-Ari, who runs Applied Blockchain and another enterprise protocol called Fern. So we have a solid group of people together that we're working on this project. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions. Well, let's first do a round of applause so I can feel good about myself. And any questions on the census project? Yep. So for the larger, so on the insurance side, for example, we'll get a referral fee for that. But on larger data acquisitions, we can take a percentage of the deal. For kind of like with Craigslist, they only took fee for like what the jobs ads and everything else was free. We're going to focus on the highest value data sets and charge a small percentage for those. But also like the referral fees for when we connect customers with clients.
So referral fee coming from like insurance companies?
Correct.
To sell their policies.
Correct. So we wanted to start with a tangible business model that works without crypto, because with the census token, it makes it easier to deploy and to raise capital to make payments internationally and to make the whole thing function. But if we had to deploy other crypto, if we had to deploy EOS or some other humanitarian token or some other token or even Bitcoin, we could use the same platform to reward people with an alternative currency. So we wanted to make sure that Census works with the currency with a census token in an optimized way, but it could work with alternative payments as well.
So there is a census token?
There will be, but right now we're focusing on, like I said, trying to make sure that it all works in a non-tokenized way. So that's why we're doing it with points, and in the future, in jurisdictions where we can, we'll allow the purchase of the ERC20 tokens with the points that were previously earned, where it's legal and we're not violating any securities rules. Cool.
Thank you, Lewis.
Thank you.